Welcome aboard Just Jets with your captain, Matt O'Leary. Buckle up and enjoy the ride.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Matt O'Leary, back with episode number 41 of Just Jets. Before we get into today's episode, I just wanted to say you can follow me along on social media, wherever it is that you use your social media, at Matt O'Leary NY. Subscribe to the podcast, Just Jets, wherever you get your podcast. Really appreciate all the love and support. We got some Pat Fitzgerald rumors to get into. We got about Dowell and Gase calling plays, Jets Chargers reaction, Jets Dolphins semi-predictions, and then voicemails. But before we get started, too, wanted to let you know about MANSCAPED. The holiday season is rapidly approaching. You got to get your loved ones a gift, and what better gift than something like the Lawnmower 3.0 or the Weed Whacker? Head on over to manscaped.com. Use my promo code JETS20, that's JETS20, for 20% off and free shipping from their website. Check it out for the best in below-the-belt grooming. Their skin-safe technology makes shaving a breeze. JETS20, get yourself something nice over there at manscaped.com. So let's get into the Pat Fitzgerald rumors. So, according to Ali of Loyal NY Jets fans and U Stadium Sports, I believe, I want to get that credit right. So hang on one second. I want to get the credit. Yes, U Stadium and Ali from Loyal NY Jets fans, they said that sources are telling them that Pat Fitzgerald is rumored to be in the mix for the New York Jets head coaching position in 2020, and he could potentially be the front runner. So what do you know about this guy, or what do you need to know about this guy? A few things. One, the Panthers and the Packers reached out to him for interviews in the past. So he is someone who has garnered NFL, not experience per se, but NFL interest. His team right now, Northwestern, is 5-0, and he's been their coach since 2006. He's been there for a really, really long time. He's won 8 games or more in a season 5 times. He is 104-79 overall. He was the 2018 Big Ten Coach of the Year. He's an intriguing option. To me, I like the college coaching route. You guys know, if you follow me for a while, Matt Rule I was high on. Cliff Kingsbury I was very high on when the Jets were doing their last head coaching search in 2018. And I'm not opposed to a guy like Fitzgerald, who I think could be someone who could come in and turn around the program, so to speak, which is something that they're looking to Matt Campbell to do, or PJ Fleck. Fitzgerald has not made any of my coaching lists, but I am definitely intrigued by what this guy has to offer and what he's been able to do at Northwestern. They have, bowl wins. They have experience. Right now, they look like a really good football team as they're sitting at 5-0. And he's a fiery guy. You see him on the sidelines. He's getting really into it. He's a former linebacker, but at this point in his career, I think he's just, an overall head coach. He has that head coaching experience. So it's not like, he's a defensive specialist or an offensive specialist. No, if you coached in college football for a decade and a half, you're a head coach. You're a head coach. And something that in my research that I found that was absolutely hysterical is the man compared RPOs to communism, which is just such a football guy move. He does not like that you can get the offensive lineman down the field, and he would like to change that. He's a football purist, as he would describe himself, which is completely cool, man. I love it. To me, he's a football guy, which is what the Jets need. Like, he comes across as likable. He comes across as, a smart guy, and when you listen to him speak, or when you watch him on the sidelines going nuts, you look like that's a guy that I want to play for if I'm a player. Or that's a guy that I'd want to be my head coach if I'm a fan. And are there other intriguing options out there? Absolutely. And I would not say that Pat Fitzgerald now climbs the ranks and is number 1 on my list in terms of people who I'd like to see coach the Jets. But I don't think by any stretch of the imagination that this would be a mistake hire. You guys know who I'm confident in at this point, who's high on my list. I like Joe Brady a lot. I like Arthur Smith a lot. I like Eric Bieniemy a ton. I would not want Jim Harbaugh. I've beaten that to death already. I would not want Bill O'Brien or Jim Caldwell or guys like that. So to me, I'm cool. I'm good with Pat Fitzgerald. If that was the decision, and I don't think this is written in stone by any stretch of the imagination, I really don't. But if we find out come January that they move on from Adam Gase, please, and if they decide to go the direction that they're going to hire Pat Fitzgerald, then okay, I'm cool with that. I could live with that. I think that's completely fine, and I'd be cool with it. But that was an intriguing rumor that came out late last night. I was on the live stream talking with Ryan and Max, the legend, and having a good time over there when the rumors broke. So if you did not see that come out last night, this might be new to you, but I'm definitely going to do more research on Pat Fitzgerald now. He is on my radar. And I'll be watching Clemson the rest of this college football season. I will also be watching Northwestern now the rest of this college football season. But the RPO comment is just laugh out loud funny stuff. So I absolutely love that. So something to keep an eye on if you're a Jets fan on Pat Fitzgerald. I'm intrigued. That's where I'll say that I'm at right now. I'm intrigued, and I don't think it would be the worst hire by far. Something else that I wanted to get into before I mention my thoughts on Jets Chargers and then talk about Jets Dolphins briefly is the Jets play calling situation. So it looked like in the second half that Adam Gase took the play calling responsibilities back, but he really didn't. And he was asked by Connor Hughes in the post game, and he clarified. So essentially, what happens is Dowell Loggins calls the plays, but he doesn't call it into the quarterback. Instead, Dowell calls it into Adam Gase, and Adam Gase relays that message to Joe Flacco. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds completely pointless. Why would they do that? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever, because in the NFL, you only have a limited amount of time in between plays. It's called a play clock. You guys know that. And if you're going to eat up, how many seconds does that take? If he is reading off his play sheet, Dowell Loggins goes, ooh, okay, let me find the play. Okay, play 13. And then he says in the microphone, all right, Adam, we're going to go play 13. Adam Gase looks at his sheet, says, okay, play 13, and then calls in to Joe Flacco, all right, we're doing Spider 2Z, whatever the heck their play call is. And then Joe Flacco says it in the huddle. That's a wasted 5 seconds, which is a long time in a 40-second play clock. That's insane. And especially in today's NFL where you're supposed to be at least a little bit more on up-tempo, that is... You wonder why you're 0-10 and why this coaching staff is a complete dumpster fire. Well, there's your answer. Stupid stuff like that, man, where there is absolutely no reason for that to be the case. Why do you need your offensive coordinator to call the play to the head coach to call it into the quarterback, who's a veteran, by the way? It's not like it's some rookie head coach. He's just such a micromanager, man, and he has to get his grubby mitts all over everything. It's so annoying. It's unbelievable the stuff that Adam Gase has this team do. It's so frustrating to watch on a week-to-week basis. And I don't know if Dowell is that much better of a play caller than Adam Gase. I wouldn't necessarily say that, but who cares, man? Just let it rock. Why are you at this point trying to make things so difficult? Why? There's no point to that. There is 0 point to having your offensive coordinator call in the play to the head coach and the head coach relay to the quarterback. That's an extra step. That's why this team is so bad. The stupid small things like that makes all the difference in the world. It's just a complete waste of time. So I wanted to talk about that briefly, as it was just mind-numbing to me that they could do something like that for some reason. So Jets Chargers, what do we learn? Mims, very good. He had a monster second half. He only had 1 target in the first half, which is awful. This kid should be getting 5 targets a half. He should be upwards of 10 targets a game. He ended up getting 8 targets on the game and 3 catches for 71 yards. He was making big play after big play. So the first play was a really nice adjustment catch on the right sideline. That was the highlight reel one. And then the next one after that was a 4th down. On 4th and 5, Flacco just tossed it up and Denzel Mims went up and grabbed the ball. That was awesome. And then it was another kind of jump ball situation on the left side. This kid is making plays on one-on-one. Continue to do that. And it looks like you have a starting outside wide receiver going into next year. And that's huge for this team because they don't have a ton when it comes to the wide receiver position. I mean, look at how they've drafted at that position over the last decade plus. Really, since go back to 1996, they took Keyshawn Johnson in the first round, first overall. Then from there in 2000, okay, you took Lavernius Coles in the third round, good pick. Then you took Santana Moss in the first round in 2001, okay. 2004, you took Jericho Cotchery in the fourth round, all right. Since then, the only names worthwhile talking about, Jeremy Curley was like okay in 2011 in the fifth round, and Quincy Enunwa in 2014, which injuries completely derailed his year. They have gotten no production and tons of misses too. Stephen Hill, whiff. Devin Smith, whiff. Chad Hansen, Ardarius Stewart, whiff. Out of the league. They were drafted in 2017 in the third and fourth round. They were out of the league within a year and a half. Crazy. Absolutely crazy stuff. So Denzel Mims looks legit, which is something that I'm extremely excited about. The offense was good in the second half. They didn't do anything in the first half. I mean, Flacco looked terrible. That pick six was just laugh out loud funny. The secondary really struggled defensively. Quinnen Williams, I thought, had himself a really good game. He continues to get better week in and week out. Another big touchdown for Rashad Perryman, and I know that's a conversation that a lot of people have been having the last couple of weeks with him playing a little bit better. Oh, you bring him back as a fourth wide receiver. Depending on what the cost is, I don't think I want to pay him more than $4 million a year. If you could tell me I could get him for $4 million, sure. Okay, I'll do that. He's too injury prone to give any kind of significant chunk of change to. So if I got to give him $6+ million to bring him back for next year, I'm all set on that, man. I'll take somebody else in the draft. And then I would also like to see more of Chris Herndon. I know he had a drop earlier in the game, but he had a really nice play on the touchdown. To me, this guy just screams like he is going to bounce back after Adam Gase. I think he deserves one more run for next year. 2018 was a really promising rookie. Expectations were high for me going into this year because 2019 was pretty much a lost season for him with injuries and the suspension. So I would like to see a lot more of Chris Herndon going forward, along with pretty much any takeaway reps to Frank Gore, or like why are we doing that? Any veteran who's not a long-term solution here, I'm really all good with. And the Jets lost an entertaining game. I wasn't surprised. Herbert threw all over that defense. They didn't look good. The only really member of the secondary who looked okay was Hall. Lamar Jackson really struggled. Ashton Davis wasn't good in coverage. Harvey Lange, after having a really good game against the Patriots, really struggled in coverage. So it was pretty much as I expected, unfortunately. And this upcoming week, they have the Miami Dolphins, who are coming off a surprising loss to the Denver Broncos. And I think that they're going to be a motivated team. And with Tua Tagovailoa back in the mix, he got benched, but he's going to be the starter. They're going to be a really hungry team. And let's not forget that this team beat the Jets by 24 a couple of weeks ago. Sure, the Jets are playing a little bit better football now, but I still think Miami wins this by a touchdown. I think you're looking at like a 24-17 kind of game. I don't really expect this to be close. I don't think this is a trap game. I don't think this is one where the Jets steal it. No, I think Miami, they're a good team. They're in the mix for a wild card spot. I don't think they're going to get the division. I think Buffalo's got that in the bag. But this is a hungry team. They're better coached. They have a better quarterback. It's going to be the Miami Dolphins coming on the road and winning this game in 24-17 over the New York Jets. So with that, let's get into those voicemails, man. All right, first up is Dom from Long Island, wants to talk about Adams and Kalen Ballage.
Hey, Matt. How's it going? It's Dom from Long Island. Thank you for taking my call last week. Really appreciate that.
No problem.
And, I just want to say, really thank you for doing your show. Really love it. Every Wednesday is pretty much what gets me through the work mornings. So
I appreciate that, dude. Thank you.
I just was calling in because I wanted to comment on your Jamal Adams take with him, having the interview and the dark room and all that. So I totally agree with your take. I mean, it just comes to a point where you can't keep changing your story and expect people to take you seriously, be it true or not. I mean, like you said, it was the money, then it was the coach, now it's this, it was a trade. Like, it's just a lot. And I know some people might be giving you some shit for that, but I totally agree with the take. I don't think it was, off base or anything whatsoever. One thing I did want to address additionally too was Kalen Ballage. I mean, If there was ever a player with Adam Gase syndrome, it's Kalen Ballage.
Yep.
I mean, the kid comes to the Jets, he couldn't block a soul, and then goes to the Chargers, and I got the kid on my fantasy team now. I mean, it's pretty incredible.
Yep.
How people continually just leave Gase and just flourish everywhere they go. So, I mean, I just kind of want to know what you think about that. I know you said you think Chris Herndon could be one of those guys. Just what's your take on that? Thanks. Go Jets.
Yeah, really appreciate that. Thank you for the kind words in the beginning. I'll talk Ballage first, then Adams. With Ballage, I'll be honest, I'm surprised. When he was with the Jets, he did not look like he belonged on an NFL roster. But like you said, so many guys continue to leave Adam Gase and just flourish in other places. So hopefully we see that from LaMichael P. Ryan next year. He takes a step forward. And I really do think Herndon is someone who can bounce back. I'm still high on him. He's got a ton of talent. We saw that on the touchdown catch against the Chargers. That was not an easy catch in the end zone. He made a really nice play on that ball. And it's just bizarre to see Ballage go from just missing blocking assignments left and right to being the feature back for the Chargers in the span of weeks is just weird. And with Jamal Adams, listen, it's tough for me to defend that guy. It really is at this point. And I hope no one took my comments as insensitive. I didn't mean it to come off that way. Basically, what I was saying is based on my own personal experiences with what I have to deal with and what I heard with Green Bean on the stream. He's an expert in the field. I felt pretty confident in saying that I wasn't buying into Jamal actually having depression. It's tough. I know everyone handles it differently. I shouldn't compare my own personal situations and Jamal Adams and how he deals with things, but it just came off. I took it as insensitive of Jamal to say that what he was going through and compare it to, like depression or anxiety or PTSD and all that stuff, because it's an important thing. We should talk about mental health more as a society. And I don't know if what I said was trying to get away from talking about mental health. That's not really what I meant it as. To me, my reaction was just that it didn't come across like he gets it, and that I think rubbed me the wrong way. So if I was offended, or if I was offensive with my comment, I apologize. I just wanted to clarify why I had the reaction that I had. So hopefully that explains it. Thank you so much, Dom, for calling in. Really appreciate it. Again, we're going to go to Eli up next, wants to talk about Allen Robinson and Eric Bieniemy.
Hey, Matt. This is Eli from Kansas. First of all, I love your show.
Thank you.
Okay, now on to the actual things I want to talk about. I want to talk about Allen Robinson. Because I was just having a conversation with Ryan, Jets Talk 24/7, in his comments. He said we should pay Allen Robinson $20 million a year. I'm very against this. I'm a person that thinks the quarterback makes the wide receiver. We do need to surround Trevor with talent, assuming we get Trevor Lawrence. But I don't think $20 million a year for over 5 years, so a $100 million contract, is what we need to give out to a guy like Allen Robinson. Yes, he's a very good wide receiver. He's already 27 years old. So what? In a few years, he's going to be over 30. I just think that's a stupid contract to give out. Second of all, I want to talk about coaches.
Sure.
A lot of people are riding the Eric Bieniemy bandwagon. I do not want Eric Bieniemy whatsoever. I have no clue what he does in Kansas City. He doesn't call the plays. He doesn't draw up the plays. That's all Andy Reid. I saw at the beginning. Maybe he took part in developing Patrick Mahomes. And I thought, okay, we should give him a shot. Then, when I was actually in person in the Chiefs game.
Okay.
I watched. Mahomes did not talk to the enemy after a play.
He went to the quarterback coach.
Went to Hafka, the quarterback's coach. So I really don't know what he does in Kansas City. I don't know if he just controls the running game, or I don't even know if he does that. So I really don't want him on this team. I'd rather have a guy like Joe Brady. I think Joe Brady's the next Sean McVay. The only problem is he's a bit young. But Sean McVay was hired at 31. Joe Brady's 31. Sean McVay went to the Super Bowl. Not the first year he was there, the second year. And he brought that terrible Rams team into contenders the past 3 years. Thanks for letting me call in. I also have
Sure.
a Jets podcast or show. I call into shout out. It's called Sports Travel with the Lefties. A few podcasts every week. All right. Thanks for letting me call in.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Good stuff. Good luck on the podcast. I'm going to disagree. I disagree with you on both, to be honest with you. Allen Robinson, I think, is someone that I would pay that kind of money to. I understand not wanting to give that much money to a wide receiver, but with how contracts work in the NFL these days, they're able to get out of deals much, much easier, and you could potentially get out of it before it gets problematic. And with a new quarterback like Trevor Lawrence on a cheap deal, you can live with 3-4 years of paying a top wide receiver $17, $18, $19, $20 million a year, whatever it takes to get him signed. To me, he's a top 10 wide receiver in the game. He's really he's underrated for what he's been able to do out there in Chicago. And with Eric Bieniemy, I think it really comes down to scheme. He's very involved in the game plans each week in meetings with Andy Reid, and Andy Reid came out and said, might have even been before last year, and said that he believes that he's ready to take over as a head coach. And that was, that's going to be 2 years ago at this point. So I think he's ready. I think he deserves a shot. And I think we're minimalizing what he's done there if we're just looking at Andy Reid calling the plays. And the Andy Reid coaching tree is a good one. So I'd be willing to take that shot. Next up is Roger in Comac wants to talk 2021 draft and a couple other things.
Matt, it's Roger from Comac. Listen, I wanted to propose something to you. I want to get your thoughts on it. So
okay.
Here goes. As I'm looking across the NFL landscape, I'm seeing teams like the Bengals. I'm seeing teams like the Chargers, who got awesome quarterback play. They're moving the ball down the field.
Yep.
But their defense really isn't doing anything, and they're losing games because of it, right? Meanwhile, you got on the other end of that spectrum, you got a team like the Bills, who've got I'm not completely sold on Josh Allen, so I'm going to say he's a mediocre quarterback. But they have an awesome defense, and they're able to hold teams. Plus, they've got an awesome wide receiver that is just blowing up the league. So put those two things together. Here's what I'm proposing next year's draft that the Jets should do. Right?
Okay.
With that number 1 overall pick, yeah, I know it's great and all to have Trevor Lawrence and just fall into your lap, but
I don't like where this is going.
You're better off trading out of that pick, getting a whole bunch of draft capital. Maybe trading up with a team like, or trading down with a team like the Dallas Cowboys or someone like that, somebody in need of a quarterback. And with their pick, you grab somebody like Patrick Surtain, right? So you grab a top cornerback prospect, shore up your pass defense. Then maybe, further down in the first round, if he's still available, maybe you grab a Zach Wilson if he's there, or you grab one of these premier offensive linemen, so you can start shoring up your offense. And if you miss out on that first round quarterback, maybe go into the second round, you grab like a Zach, what's his name, Brock Purdy, something like that, and just build pieces around your quarterback position and help your team, not just on the offensive side of the ball, but across the board, special teams, defense, everything, right? So, give me your thoughts on that. I think that is probably the smart way to go, and I would love to see, Joe Douglas go in that direction, maybe even give Sam Darnold another season with a competent head coach. In my opinion, that should be Matt Campbell, but give me your thoughts. I'd like to know what you think. All right.
All right. I like Matt Campbell. That's about the one thing I agree with you on right there. I'm sorry, Roger. I can't buy into passing on Trevor Lawrence with how this season has gone. If this was, 6 weeks ago, maybe you could convince me to give Sam a shot, but he is hurt again. He has gotten worse again, and I think he could have success somewhere else. I don't think you can go into his 4th year with him being this much of a question mark and this big of a regression and having to decide on his 5th-year option this year when you have a really, really, really good quarterback prospect in Trevor Lawrence sitting right there. Don't make this harder than it has to be. You can still take Trevor Lawrence, trade Sam Darnold for a 2nd and 5th, and have 6 picks in the first 3 rounds. You can build up a roster quickly that way, and when you have a quarterback prospect who is better than anyone you're going to get in the 2nd round, or a better prospect at this point than Sam Darnold, you have to do it. I don't think it's an option to trade back. If the Jets were picking 4th, then maybe we're having a different conversation, but I don't think they're going to get to that point. I think it's either 1st or 2nd, and I got my money on 1st right now. So thank you for checking in, Roger. Next up, I'm going to go to Austin in Oregon, who wants to talk Darnold trade.
Hey, Matt. I know the perfect can't. Hey, Matt. This is Andrew Weston calling from Tillamook, Oregon.
Or Andrew, maybe?
I've actually been hearing that the Jets are wanting to make a trade for Sam Darnold.
Trade him away, yeah.
And the best fit would be to send Sam Darnold to the
Not Chicago?
Dallas Cowboys
Dallas, okay.
for Dak Prescott in a 2021 5th-round pick. That is my landing destination for Sam Darnold.
Anything else?
Actually, scratch that.
Okay, we'll scratch it.
I would love to send Sam Darnold to the Chicago Bears for Mitchell Trubisky.
Okay.
Sam Darnold, he actually knows Ryan Pace's offense. He would be a perfect fit for the Bears.
Okay, so we trade one of the worst starting quarterbacks in football right now for a worse quarterback. That's what I'm getting out of that. Okay. We'll stew on that one for a little bit. Let's go to Travis. Oh, no, excuse me. Sorry. We got Weston first, then Travis.
Hey, Matt. This is Weston from Florida. And before I get into my question, I want to say I love your content. I think you do a fantastic job.
Thank you.
There's not a lot of people in media for any sports team I follow that I share almost all similar ideas and thoughts about. And it's kind of neat to see someone like that. Anyway, now that I'm done saying phrases, on my actual questions. I have 2 of them, but they're kind of both short.
Okay.
The 2 biggest sort of things that I see right now that are things that I can't stand are some Jets fans, and I don't think it's a lot, but I think it's a few that are saying, hey, what about Jim Harbaugh?
No,
and then I don't
please
see
no.
any Jets fans thinking this. I see mostly other people saying this of Trevor Lawrence should pull a Eli Manning or a John Elway or a Peyton Manning and stay in college or demand to go somewhere else. And I don't get it. When I hear the John Harbaugh thing, or the Jim Harbaugh, excuse me, I think to myself, if we were a team like, I'm going to go into hockey for a second, but the 93-94 Rangers, we were very close to being good, to winning a championship. I'd say, you know what? Yeah, maybe. Jim Harbaugh, he wouldn't be here long, but I think he can guide us to that if we had a good team. But he'd have to build it, and I don't think he can build a team from this, like from what we have right now. He is going to overstay. He would overstay his welcome very quickly if we brought him in. I don't think he'd get to year 3 of our new quarterback, assuming we take one. And I don't get the want to bring in Jim Harbaugh. Now, the other one is I see everyone saying, oh, Trevor Lawrence should demand to go somewhere else, or should stay in college, or should demand a trade, or blah, 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 blah. He should pull an Eli Manning. And whenever I see people say, pull an Eli Manning, I get very, very confused. Because I think to myself, what? What? Do you not understand the Eli Manning situation? He did that to get to New York. He did what he did. He demanded that trade to get to New York City. Because he understood if you come to New York and you succeed, if you win in New York, you become a godlike figure in that city. True. Look at Joe Namath. I love Joe Namath, and this is not Joe Namath slander. But he was okay, but he won that Super Bowl, and he could go anywhere in New York right now, and people would freaking flock to him. Like,
you're not wrong.
He is this franchise's GOAT. And on a lot of teams, he'd be good. But that's about it. And no rookie, no young guy like Trevor Lawrence, who's on top of his game right now, is thinking, oh, what if I go there and lose? He's thinking, what if I go there and win? Anyway, I don't understand how those misconceptions started. And I wanted to know why you think they started and why they've really gained so much validity, and why a lot of people in big parts of media are saying Trevor Lawrence is going to do that.
Thank you so much for calling in and the kind words early on. Really appreciate that. So a few things. Why do I think a lot of people fall in love with Harbaugh? Because it's the big name. And yes, he did have success at the NFL level a long time ago, but things ended really, really, really badly. And then he went to Michigan, and things have not gone well at Michigan. They haven't. I'm sorry. This is not where the program thought it would be 5 years into his tenure, with an awful losing record against ranked teams and an even worse record against teams that are ranked in the top 10. It would be a bad decision. And with Trevor Lawrence, this stuff happens every year, unfortunately. They said the same thing with Joe Burrow. I don't buy it. Like, what are your better options? He's going to go to Jacksonville or the Washington football team? Come on, give me a break on that. I don't buy it for a second. I really don't. But I agree with what you're saying. I think Harbaugh would be a massive mistake. And I don't buy for a second that Trevor Lawrence is not going to come out and not go to whoever's picking first overall. It's very, very rare. Very rare. But people like to stir up content and clicks, and it's not for me. I don't like it. So let's go to Travis in Ohio, and let's see if he did his homework. Travis, did you do your homework, buddy?
Hey, Matt! Travis from Ohio. Hey, buddy, I heard your podcast last week.
Yes.
And challenge accepted. It's my first homework assignment in 20 years since I
Love
graduated
it.
from the other Ohio State University. Challenge accepted. All right, buddy. This is a realistic take. It's not a homer take because, come on, I'm a Jets fan. I'm going to shoot this straight. Let's see. Not going to get. All right. In 2020, he is second in the nation in QBR
Okay.
and has 13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, which all came last game against Indiana, which is the first team he's actually had to face. They were number 9 at the time. They kept it close, even though I have not seen Ohio State not in the driver's seat all year. They've been in control of every game, including this one. It was a late game comeback from Indiana. Even though Justin Fields did not play well, he had his first 3 interceptions. The second one wasn't his fault, but the other 2 weren't good. First one was a bad read, and
Okay.
the other one, he was getting hit and kind of hucked it up there. He can scramble, but he mostly extends plays, kind of like Big Ben Roethlisberger. Most of his passes are, and he's averaging over 300 yards a game, are through the air. They aren't little slants or screens. In summary, after 4 games, yeah, he has come a long way since last year, but the eyeball test was last year against Clemson when they went head-to-head with Trevor Lawrence. And give me Trevor Lawrence, even though I love me some Justin Fields, because I'm a Buckeye. Travis from freaking Ohio. So, anyway, I would roll with him if we had the second pick, but went J-Law first. T-Law, sorry.
There you
T-Law
go.
first. Anyway, love you. Happy Thanksgiving. Bye. Oh, go Jets.
You kill me, Travis. That's phenomenal. Thank you for doing the homework assignment and the update on Justin Fields. I love it. I love it. I know he struggled this past week. I'm not super worried about it. I still think he's a really good prospect, as does Travis. You're 100% right, though. It's Trevor Lawrence, and if you don't get Trevor Lawrence, then you go, okay, we'll take Justin Fields. And you're bummed about it because Justin Fields is a good prospect, but not at the same level as Trevor Lawrence, and you make the best of it. But thank you so much, Travis. Really appreciate it, and happy Thanksgiving to you as well. Thanks for always calling in. I appreciate you. We're going to go to Mike up next. He wants to know some coaching candidates.
Hey, Matt. It's Mike. I just want to talk about the coaching candidates.
Sure.
I think Greg Roman is a little overrated. You see what the Ravens offense has done this year compared to last year. It's not good. He gets the most out of his guys, Lamar, in his first full season, and then they've regressed really hard last year. You see Ravens fans calling for him to be fired. I've seen it on their Instagram, on their Twitter, whatever. They do not like the way Roman's calling games.
Okay.
And that concerns me for hiring him to be the head coach. My top three would be Joe Brady, Bieniemy, Campbell in that order. You see what Brady's got out of Bridgewater, Robbie Anderson. He hasn't even had McCaffrey. He's been working with Mike Davis.
That's true.
And that offense has been pretty good. And then Bieniemy, I know Ryan and Greenbean aren't that high on him, but he's worked with the best offensive mind in the game, Andy Reid. And you see the Andy Reid coaching tree. I think Bieniemy would be a really good hire. And then Campbell turning around the team and turning them into one of the better college football teams. So, I don't know. I think Roman, I don't think he would be the best hire. I don't think he would be in my top 5 if I were to list them.
Okay.
So let me know what you think. Love the show. See you.
Yeah, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for checking in. I agree with a lot of what you said. Roman was higher on my list. He's going down a little bit. Now, that can change depending on how he finishes the rest of this year, obviously, but I definitely see his stock falling. A huge riser to me is Joe Brady, man. He has been phenomenal. He's been really, really good with the Carolina Panthers. I like PJ Fleck. I like Matt Campbell. And I'm starting to buy into this Fitzgerald guy, man. I love it. Comparing the RPO to communism is just laugh out loud funny. So appreciate you, Mike. I think so. I'll give you, I guess. What did you want? Top 3 or top 5? Sorry, I got to go back for a second. So I'll go Arthur Smith, Joe Brady, Eric Bieniemy, PJ Fleck, Matt Campbell. That's my top 5 right now. And number 6, yeah, we'll add him to the list. Why not? Pat Fitzgerald, number 6. All right, let's go to Eric from Long Island, and he wants to talk about NFL draft and keepers.
Hey, what's going on, Matt? This is Eric from Long Island. I'm actually studying to be an NFL scout as we speak. So
oh, cool. That's awesome.
I'm a huge Jets fan for a long time. I'm wondering, there's a few keepers on the Jets, a few players, especially on defense, I think we could use for next season. I'd like to keep Poole, the cover corner, our nickel corner, and I like Hewitt a lot. He seems to always be around the ball and be a factor, and I like his energy as well. I hope they can keep him. As far as the draft, I don't know if you saw the game this week, but Fields played Indiana, who has a good defense, and he did not do well. He threw 3 interceptions. I think he had 2 touchdowns. It shows when he plays against quality competition, maybe what he is. If you look at the game he played against Clemson last year, my huge fear is that our final game of the season, we play New England. I think the Patriots are going to try to tank the game. I feel like they tried to tank the first game on us a little bit, and I feel like they will definitely try to tank the last game on us, because anything Belichick can do to screw over the Jets, I feel like he'll do. And I wanted to run a prospect by you that I would really like the Jets to take. Dalvin Cook's younger brother, James Cook. He plays for Georgia. He's underutilized. He has a better 40 time than Dalvin, and he's very underutilized, but his yards per carry are great. He's also a receiving threat out of the backfield, and we could use somebody like that. He could probably be in number 1. You could probably get him in the 4th round. And I really like the receiver out of LSU, Marshall, maybe with our 2nd pick in the 1st round. My other question is, do you think Trevor Lawrence, do you think he'll pull an Eli Manning and refuse to come to the Jets, or do you think, from what you hear, that he'll go where he's taken. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for checking in. Really appreciate that. Interesting stuff there, and good luck becoming a scout. That's awesome. I'm not really concerned with Trevor Lawrence. I think he's definitely coming out, and I think he'll go to whoever takes him first overall. As for James Cook, he's 5'11", 190. Interesting day 2 kind of guy. Probably more day 3, I guess. I think he's a 3rd or 4th round kind of guy. And I'm for it, man. I definitely think you need to take a swing on a running back at some point in this draft class. You can convince me at going after one earlier. Maybe in like the 2nd round is the earliest that I would go. But I'm not opposed to it. I'm really not. I think if he's someone who can run the ball and also be a threat in the receiving game, that's definitely something that you want to look for. So he definitely makes my list. I also like Chuba Hubbard a lot as a prospect. And I talked about ETN. I love ETN. I just don't think he's going to make it to where the Jets are picking. And Najee Harris is definitely someone I have my eyes on with pick number 33. So thank you so much for checking in with me. Eric, we're going to go to Jake, who wants to talk about the reporting structure.
Hey, Matt. It's Jake from New Orleans again. Today I wanted to talk about the Jets' unconventional organizational structure, which I think is a huge problem that we don't talk about a lot during the season because you're mostly seeing the on-field results. But I wanted to ask your opinion on the Jets' idiotic structure of
it's true.
General manager and coach. The coach doesn't work for the general manager. They both work for the owner, and they both report to Christopher Johnson. Do you think this structure will change when Woody Johnson comes back? And do you think that Joe Douglas will be able to pick his own coach? Because honestly, that's the only way I see the coaching hire actually mattering is if Joe Douglas gets to instill his coach, and his culture. So let me know what you think. Only 6 more games. We're making it through. Go Jets.
Almost there. Jets therapy is here. Don't you worry, Jake. So I don't know if Joe Douglas is going to be able to pick his coach, which is scary to me. I think Woody Johnson's going to want to make the final decision, which scares the life out of me because I know he's obsessed with Jim Harbaugh. The reporting structure is ridiculous. You can't. A functioning franchise doesn't do that, man. You hire a good owner stays out of it. They hire football people to make the football decisions, and they stay out of decisions like that. And unfortunately, no, I don't expect that to change unless the Johnsons decide to sell, which I don't think is something that's going to happen anytime soon, unfortunately, which really freaking sucks. But thank you so much for checking in, Jake, and I'm with you, man. I really hope this reporting structure changes. Next up, we're going to go to Kia, and he wants to know about making the playoffs. When is that going to be a thing for the Jets?
Hey, Matt. It's Jake.
That's Jake again. Sorry. Here we go.
Hey, Matt. I'm Kia. I would like to ask a question. When do you think the Jets will make the playoffs? And I would like to ask if you think they should draft Justin Fields because Trevor Lawrence is currently doesn't want to play with the Jets.
We don't know that.
I'm asking if maybe you would consider Justin Fields as their next quarterback, and maybe with Denzel Mims, and I'm hoping that you can make a video on that, and I will definitely watch. Thanks. From Kia. And wait, before I go,
sure.
Can you do can you say what it would be like? I love your coach predictions. I was just watching it.
Thank you.
So I would like you to make a video on what it would be if we just drafted Justin Fields and what's the upsides and downsides of drafting him. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think I'm not buying the Trevor Lawrence stuff, so I'm not taking Justin Fields over Trevor Lawrence if I'm picking second. Yeah, I would take Justin Fields. The cons are if he's able to do it against NFL competition or stronger defenses, because he struggled this past week. I think he has the traits to be a very accurate passer, and I like that he uses his legs and he can extend plays. and he could throw. His deep ball has gotten better this year, and I think he has gotten better from last year to this year. So he is trending in the right direction, but I definitely think that people are going to point to his performance against teams like Clemson and this past week against Indiana and say, well, I don't believe that he's going to be able to do that at the NFL level. I personally don't feel that way, but I think that's what the con like that would be. And as opposed to when do I think the Jets can make the playoffs? Okay, so let's assume they draft Trevor Lawrence, and let's assume they get like a half-decent coach in here. I think they have a building year in 2021, but 2022 can be a playoff expectation season. This is not a 5-year league to rebuild in anymore. The Jets have gotten their rebuilds wrong, but if you look at teams like the Cardinals, who just had the first overall pick a couple of years ago and were a competitive team last year and are due to make the playoffs this year, and same like with the Cleveland Browns, they went from first overall pick 0-16 to Baker Mayfield showing some life in 2018, had a step back in 2019, but are on track to make the playoffs this year. I don't think it's going to be like 5 years down the line. I think it's maybe 2 years out. So hopefully, I can't take much more of this. We're going to go to Ben, who wants to talk Jamal Adams.
Hey, Matt, it's Ben from Jersey, and I just want to take a minute to talk about public enemy number one. You know who I'm talking about. The man dubbed recently as Blitz Boy.
Blitz
Jamal
Boy.
Adams. This trade is looking better every week. With the way Jamal Adams has been playing, as long as the Seahawks lose some games, the draft picks will keep going up and up, and it'll make Joe Douglas look even better. I cannot tell you how happy I was to see Kyler Murray absolutely break Jamal Adams' ankles and him to give up 2 touchdowns on Thursday night.
Hate to see it.
That was the best moment I've had this season because the Jets have not done that for me.
That's fair.
And Joe Douglas is a genius. I don't think Jamal Adams I didn't think he was worth this package, and now this is showing me that he's not worth it. I could straightly say that he's a system safety because Greg Williams blitzed every time, and Jamal Adams thrived in that system. But in the Seattle system where he actually has to play in coverage, he's showing his flaws. I just wanted to give a little rant about how I felt about this trade. And as always, go Jets.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. Appreciate it. Thank you for checking in, Ben. I love this Jamal Adams trade. I really do. I think it looks better and better the more time that goes on, and we just got to root for every other team that plays Seattle the rest of the way, and hopefully the Jets get a pretty high-end draft pick. That'd be pretty sick on their end. Last but not least, we're going to check in from Phil from Brooklyn. Has some reaction, wants to talk Denzel Mims, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Let's hear from him.
Hey, Matt. How you doing? It's Phil, Brooklyn, New York. Wow. Hope you're doing good, first of all. And
thank you. I am.
Before I say anything, I just want to say, Denzel Mims, man. Oh, my God. He's the reason I'm watching right now. He's the reason I'm watching the New York Jets. And we have ourselves a wide receiver. It's something to start with. It really is. And I'm very excited. Him and Trevor Lawrence, hopefully, Jaguars, please. Him and Trevor Lawrence, hopefully, will be amazing. And I'm excited to see that. Anyways, Chargers game, I mean, great game. Again, great game. This is one of our better games, I would say. We got Mims involved. We got P. Moore involved, maybe. I mean, Frank Gore. Again, why? Don't know.
Yep.
Defense looked better in the third quarter, I would say. You know, I mean, it's the Chargers. They're used to blowing leads and stuff. It's like what they do.
Yep.
But Herbert looks fantastic. A lot of respect to him. I thought this was a great game. It really got me worried. I thought we were going to win that game for that areas. Jack, 1 second left on the clock. Got me nervous. Thankfully, Darius is a part of the camp. So, let me know what you thought about that game. I mean, do you want Flacco to continue starting, or do you want Darnold? I mean, I kind of want Darnold because, you know, how many more games does he have left? It's pretty upsetting.
Yep.
But, yeah. Also, where's Morgan? Is he
I know.
really this bad he can't touch the field? I don't know. It's another Hackenberg situation. All right, I'll see you later, Matt. Have a good weekend and stay safe.
You too, buddy. Thank you so much for checking in. Hated the Morgan pick at the time. Still don't like the pick. Love Mims. This kid looks legit, man. I am so excited about Denzel Mims going forward. I would like to see Darnold because I just can't stomach Joe Flacco and Frank Gore touches. I would like to see more of I was going to say P. Ryan, but he's on IR. Herndon, thank you. I want to see more Herndon involved as well. But 10 plus touches to Denzel Mims. So that would be awesome. Thank you to everyone who called in this week. Really appreciate you. I would like to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. I hope you are safe, and I hope your family is safe as well. It's a time to be thankful. 2020 was a tough year, but let's be thankful for some of the good things we have in our life right now. And honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate you guys for allowing me to be able to do this every day. I wouldn't be able to do it at this level if I didn't have you guys tuning in. It's unbelievable. I never thought that it would get to this point. So I really do appreciate you, and hope you stick around as I continue to grow here. So that's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Matt O'Leary. Go Jaguars, and I'll talk to you next time.